Okay, hello chess players. In this video, I am going to talk about this book right here. This is Commanding the Chessboard. I wrote this book 11 years ago. That's right, 11 years ago. At the time when I put this book out, basically what it was a collection of all of my lesson plans, all of my notebooks, and all of my binders, and I combined them into this book so that I had something I could carry around with me and have one-page lessons on it that I could print out and I could give to people, or one-page tactical exercises that I could give out that I could print out and give to people um, on basically my lessons. It was basically a lesson plan that I could take with me anywhere I went. And I created this book so that I could walk around with it instead of walking around with all these binders and notebooks and everything else. And when I stopped playing tournament chess and when I stopped teaching as my primary profession, I decided that I really didn't have any more secrets to keep. I bound it all up into this book and I went ahead and I just published it. So I put out this book 11 years ago, and I got a lot of positive feedback on the book. Tons of people loved this book, for all the reasons I just said. It was a great book where they could just go through and get lesson plans out of it. A lot of chess coaches really appreciated this book. They could go through and they could print out stuff. They could give handouts. But I had a lot of personal disappointments with the book myself. My grammar was not all that great. A lot of the descriptions, because of that, I kept pretty short because I had a lot of run-on sentences. My punctuation wasn't very good, and there were a lot of grammar mistakes throughout the book, which were very difficult to fix because there were so many of them. So another consequence of that is I kept the descriptions short, even though I wanted to give a lot more details about things like the middle games and a lot more details about what was going on in these different endgames. But I kept the descriptions intentionally short to basically compensate for the fact that I knew that I had, bad grammar. So I basically just kept the book really short and just kind of, just kept it to just the moves almost. So that was one disappointment of mine. Another piece of feedback that I got on the original book was on the e side of the book, basically the electronic edition of the book. The text in the electronic edition of the book back then was not scalable text. So it was basically one of the issues I had when I went to publish the electronic edition of the book back in 2014 was that I had written the entire book in Fritz diagram font. And at the time, I didn't know how to convert just the diagrams of the book and create something that allowed for scalable text. So the solution back then was to flatten the entire book, and that's a process where basically they take the whole book and they just turn it into a picture, and then they publish it like that. And that's what they did with the electronic version of the book. And at the time, I didn't think that was such a big deal because, okay, most of the book is, a lot of the book is diagrams anyway, so that's not going to be a problem. And, for the rest of it, people can just pinch and zoom and it won't be a big deal. But pinching and zooming in an ebook, as I've discovered, is actually kind of a big deal. So I took all of the time and all of the effort to fix every single problem that both I had with the book and, of course, my e-readers, the main things that they complained about with the book over the last 11 years. I took all the feedback that I got and I finally created this second edition, which is a million times, and I'm not even exaggerating, it is a million times better than the first edition. If you have the first edition already, please read the second edition. Please get this book. It is a much better book. It has 64 additional pages. The same number of pages as the number of squares on a chessboard have been added to this book. The middle game section has been completely expanded. The end game section has been massively expanded. The introduction has been expanded. All of these areas of the book have been expanded with a lot more detail given, and it's just a much better book overall. It has been reformatted. Everything is meant to be more readable. It's just meant to give a better user experience when you're reading the book. It is basically how I intended the first book to be. The second edition is basically how I intended the first book to be. So even if you don't have a copy of the first book yet, just skip it. Just go to the second book. If you do have a copy of the first book, buy the second book anyway. The second book is 64 more pages, and it is a much better book. For those electronic users that I have out there, the e-edition of the book has been improved in every possible way. All of the text throughout the book, like if we just scroll through this book a little bit, all of this text throughout the book is going to be completely scalable. Everything in here is going to be completely scalable. In order to do this, I had to go through and I had to take every single diagram in the book by hand. I had to convert them into images, and then you have to reinsert those images into the book by hand, and then you have to go through and make sure that they show up okay. And then the text is, of course, completely scalable. This took an enormous amount of time, but now I have a book that is, of course, completely scalable. And I did a whole bunch of other stuff to the book. We have an interactive table of contents in the book. Another big complaint that I got was for a chess book, you really need to have an interactive table of contents for an ebook, because you don't want to have to hit the back button 1,000 times or hit the forward button 1,000 times to get to a section you want to get to. This has an interactive table of contents. You can go anywhere within the book. At the beginning of the book, I even have this section where if you go through and you click on like a word like zugzwang, locked pawn, zone of the pawn, you click on that, it'll simply give you the definition in one-page format. If you're reading it on your phone in the vertical form, this will take up just basically this area, like the whole space of your vertical phone. So you can go pretty much anywhere in the book. Another thing that happened when I switched over, and it wasn't anything that I could fix after making the text completely scalable and after getting all the diagrams to look right. One thing that happened is occasionally, like if I have two diagrams side by side that I wanted to keep side by side for whatever reason, or if I have a diagram with words attached to the side where I wanted to keep those words on the side, what will occasionally happen, depending on how you get the text scaled, is that it'll stretch these diagrams a little bit. You can sort of see it a little bit in this image, and then some of them in the manuscript it stretched maybe even a little bit more. Now this only happens maybe like a half dozen times throughout the book, but what I did notice was if that really bothers you, if you take your phone or tablet and turn it sideways while you're reading it, it just goes away. So everything is totally scalable. All the text is scalable, and all of the diagrams are completely legible. And if it does stretch a diagram because of the scalable text, turn your phone sideways, turn your tablet sideways, problem solved. The e version of this book is a million times better than the e version of the original book, but also the paperback and hardcover version of this book, because of the 64 additional pages in it, and because all of the grammar and all of the content in this book is how I originally intended the first book, and everything has been expanded. These books are a million times better as well. So for the next week, I will be offering these books online, and I will be offering them at a discounted price. I am going to raise the price of these books because I'm selling them for just barely above what they cost to print right now. But I am going to be raising the price of these books after the first week, so you will have from this Saturday till next Saturday to purchase the books online at the price that I'm giving right now, before I raise the price. Not by much. If you missed it, I'm going to raise the price by about $2 a book. So, anyways, thank you very much for watching this. If you don't have one of these yet, go ahead and get one. If you've already got the first edition, get one anyway. This is just all about the second edition of my book, Commanding the Chessboard. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you can use my books to learn something new about chess. Thank you very much for watching.